Welcome to the George's FTTV YouTube channel. Today we have the post-round 0 team reveal. So hopefully this goes well. It's a very difficult year for SuperCoach. There's a lot of good picks in the midfield. There's a lot of players that are going to make a lot of cash that are like from Bonner down in the mids and the forwards, and picking trying to pick the right ones and fading the right ones is something I'm kind of struggling with, and I'm trying to fit them all in. And there's still like a few that I'm not exactly sure on in terms of like Huswaite and McKercher. I'm not quite sure what their output's going to be. We'll get to that soon, but regardless, we'll go over the defense first, and yeah, we'll go through this a bit quicker because we've already done the other team reveal. And I think mostly the changes round 0 helped me for sure. So Jack Billings I was bullish on, just because he's done 80s in the past and he's pretty cheap, early price rise. However, he's sub and going forward a sub risk, so I hope he goes well. I want him to do well, but not to be. As a SuperCoach pick, I had Errol. Errol, I was sort of tossing up him and Dawson, and probably got bailed there, to be honest. Yeah, probably lucky, so we take that. And I don't know why we never considered for the whole preseason to pick players with 2 buys in the first 12 rounds, and all of a sudden we were considering Green and Gordon. Green's an interesting one we'll get to, but I don't have him at the moment, but I had him like half an hour ago. But yeah, I think we got to remember why we pick players in the first place, especially for me. When you play around with it too much before round 1, it can get like you can get a bit fuzzy where you forget your fundamentals and you're just you play with it too much and things go wrong, which is what happened to my fantasy team, where I ended up with Baker and McGrath last year, which I don't know, they were not in my team for 3 months, and they were the night before I put them in for some reason. But regardless, enough about that. D1 Dacos, D2 Tom Stewart, D3 Sheasel, D4 Hayden Young. So that's our 4. Dacos I don't really need to speak on. I know he has the buy, but he is Nick Dacos, and he's a midfielder now, and he averages more in the midfield. So there's upside in this pick, and he's vice captain for us early with a few early games. Nick is Nick, not much to say. I think you can fade if you want with the buy, but some players you don't. Anti-potting some players is just a painful experience, and Nick is probably the top of the list of players I don't want to anti-pod. Tom Stewart, we picked him because I guess the issue is he's 31, which I don't love, but you forgive a little bit when started his career late and plays not a highly taxing role, but still, like, does that fully excuse him? Probably not, but always a slight risk, picking over 30s, but 5-time All-Australian, I think role should be the same. So I think he'll be fine, and he'll be in at some point, and he has an injury game priced into him where he fell over. So hopefully nothing goes wrong with him this year, because something seems to go wrong all the time. Concussion, suspension, slipped, collarbone. Like, he's had all heaps of small niggles, but regardless, usually plays 20+ games. So he's in, and the St Kilda matchup early should, fingers crossed, Cheezel and Fisher played the Saints, and they really racked it up, 30+, probably almost 70 touches between them. So hopefully Stewart can have a day out there for round 1. Cheese, I'm not sure on what he scores. They've got Goda back there. I think Bailey Scott can go back there. They've got Fisher as well. Kircher too. A lot going on back there. I don't know. I think Scott's wing, but I think Van Footy Icon had defense, and I don't remember exactly, but we'll see. 43%. I think that's probably overs for him, and I think it'll be a solid pick. I'm not sure he's top 6, but if Fisher goes down, I think he'll be top 6. So just supreme talent, and he's in as well. Hayden Young, we saw what he could do in the midfield, and popular pick for a reason. He looks fantastic, so should get that DPP as well. So if we need to push him to D7, we can, but we might not need to, so we'll see. Rookies. I guess Zach Withers is basically a rookie. I'm glad I got to see Williams because I wasn't sure on him, given we haven't really seen him and the preparation seemed very limited. You know, limited VFL minutes into a full-blown game was a bit concerning. I thought maybe sub-risk, ease him in or something, but no, he looked good. Watched the first half and faded out a bit in the second half. I think he was a victim of scaling as well, given didn't do much in the second half when the game started getting a little tighter. So it's a low risk pick. He has a high ceiling. I think you just pick and move on. So there's a lot of decent 200k guys, but yeah, I'm not going to take this on. So it's too cheap, so it's fine. Next I have 4%. Okay, I doubt this is updated. Blake Howes, Gibcus, and Zach Reed. So no Caulfield. Not sure on Caulfield at all. Not sure on his role. What is it? Not sure he stays in the team. He might. I don't know. I'm not the coach, but Howes is best 22. They've lost Bowie. Gibcus is. I mean, Grimes couldn't have played much worse, to be honest. So I don't see Gibcus losing his spot. And then Zach Reed apparently had a small niggle. Well, actually, I don't know that, but I know he trained away from the main group. There was a photo of it on Twitter, so I hope he's okay. If he goes down, I think we're going to go and bail to Ethan Phillips. We have bail options with Phillips, with Pink, with Caulfield, so there's options there, but can't pick them all. So we'll go for the ones with the best job security, in my opinion. So that's these three. Not really going to speak too much about them. I think we'll field Howes, and yeah, he has a low floor. We saw that, but his VFL numbers are okay. I think 20 plus touches a game. So I think he can give us 65 to 70 in that Melbourne defense. Not a lot of high scorers back there. So that's the defense. It's defense preseason hasn't really affected my defense that much. I think it's helped us sort out the rookies. We kind of knew about Reed and Gibcus. Maybe it's basically Caulfield out for Howes, and then I wasn't quite sure on Zach Williams, and we got to see him. So we looked good and we got to see him. You got to pick him, so he's in. So not too much change there, which is good. So don't want to be too swayed by preseason games. Midfield, M1. I don't think you can fade Bont, but I can't be bothered not watching. Can't be bothered watching him and not owning him. He's just too good, and he's our main captain. So yeah, West Coast in round 4. I guess like it could be other players that go off that game, but yeah, if he wants to, he could go nuts that game and be a hard watch. So yeah, one of my favorite players in the league to watch. I guess easy to say your favorites to one of the best players, if not the best player in the league. But yeah, Dogs mids have been a favourite of mine since I've started this channel. I've started Bont, Dunkley, and McRae, all three of them, multiple times, and I wish I could do it again, but not this year. But it's good to have still one of them in Bont. So he's just a joy to own. And look, he's bad value. Let's be real. 720k with a magic number will sort itself out, and he'll drop a fair bit early, but hopefully doesn't. Not too much anyway, and yeah, just enjoy owning the Bont. And he has a good buy as well. There's a lot of players like a Green or a Gordon if he comes good, which he will. That just have that buy. It just makes it quite hard to pick them. But yeah, I've considered Tom Green. I just think the number one mid on probably the number one team with a joke fixture coming up. It's going to be a pretty tough non-own, and yes, he has the first buy, but I think people have quite strong benches. We've seen like a Darcy Wilson can ton, Jai Clark can ton, he should get CBAs. If you have Matt Roberts, well, we can definitely ton. Husfart on the bench, he can ton up. Like, there are players that can give you a good score in that round. So that's why I don't mind the Green pick. The mid bench is quite strong if you want to pay. Base bench is a little bit iffy, like a Carroll or... I mean, Carroll could be good, but I'll probably wait on him. So we'll wait on that one. But yeah, Bont is in. M2, I'm Crow's enough, aren't I? Where is he? Giordano, Dawson. I don't know if this is the right one because the numbers did drop last year with Crouch, and now the midfield's getting more crowded. He did get tagged twice though, so that was probably a factor. He did 112, I think, in the last 5 or something like that. It's not too bad. But the disposal count did drop. Probably not too worried about that. I'm hoping that this preseason, he said in an interview that training in the midfield for the first time has improved his game. I hope we see that because his clearance game's not super strong. He's more Matt Crouch and Laird dish it out to him. He can use it, which I'm hoping he can like improve his clearance game a bit. So, yeah, he's great to own. He's one of the best players in the league in my opinion, and he's just was always been a joy to own. Past few years, so was it just last year, the year before? I don't remember. Oh no, past 2 years. So yeah, he's in. The issue with this is you want him to do well because there's a whole bunch of other players that can do well. The main two that I'm worried about is Tom Green and Zach Butters. You know, I don't mind Zach Merritt. If Parrish is out, he scores more with Parrish out, and if Finn McGuinness would need to not be named as well. And Zach Merritt is my number one priority in terms of upgrade targets. Like, we got all these great players like Butters and Green, whatever. Number one is Zach Merritt before this Richmond West Coast North run. I think round 7 or round 8, he has to come in, and I don't care how. He has to come in. But regardless, yeah, there's just other players. And then there's LDU as well. I think in a year where we're taking Fife, Zach Williams, you know, Gorn's not exactly durable at his age, had like hammy issues early last year and has like knee niggles every now and then. There's just too much injury risk this year for my liking. Look at this defense, like Gibcus and Reed, they couldn't even get on the park last year, so there's just too much injury risk for my liking this year, and I won't be going LDU. He's only 8%, which is interesting. I thought it was more. Maybe people got scared off in that practice game, but our M3, oh my goodness, I think it's Nick Martin. So we haven't spent much. So you might look at this and be alarm bells, like, why have you not spent more in the midfield? That's where the points are. But I think the value is just too good in the midfield. So Nick Martin hopefully should get DPP, and he has the do whatever he wants Dacos role. Although it's not quite Dacos, like Dacos role is now just a CBA mid really. Can float back if he needs to, but Nick Martin's more the Dacos role from last year. So Nick Martin is in. Next player, this sort of breaks my heart a little bit, but I don't have Matt Crouch, who have been so high on all. He's been in my team since September basically. Got Ollie Wines, and I watched Crouch comfortably beat Wines 1-on-1 in the practice game showdown, but like, what is their fixture? West Coast and Richmond first 2, 5 or 6 of the first 8 at home. Like, what is this for Port? So I think he's in, and I'll probably flick him early, to be honest, or could hold him to that round 13 bye that he has, and like flick him to Tom Green or something. So I had Tom Green in this spot, and then I just thought, well, Wines should play 12 games with a donkey fixture, and Green will play 10 of 12. So and you save like 150k, 160k. So I have Ollie Wines. Do I love the pick? Not really, to be honest, but the fixture's quite nice. So I'm hoping he can do 105 for us, because in 2022, the year after his Brownlow year, if you take out the sub game, where I think he had heart issues, one game, so they subbed him off, I think the average is 107 or 108. Now, if he can get back to that, that'd be great, but that was before Butters and Rosie took up so many points, so got something on my tongue. But yeah, so he's in for now, and I don't actually have the money for Matt Crouch, but I'm a bit sad about that. Oh, my next player, what am I doing? So this is not a pretty midfield. No, he's at 5%. I have Sam Berry. I feel like I could get him up to like a Bonner who will outscore him with a better role. But I think Berry's function is hopefully gets DPP and averages okay. This is I'm worried about this because he looked good, and I believe he could be like a low end primo in the midfield. By low end primo, I'm talking like 95 plus. I think he could do that with a full midfield role. He's not going to do that because he doesn't have a full midfield role, but he'll be the 4th or 5th mid, I think. And he looked fantastic, and he's trimmed down a little bit, but he's still really strong, so still retained his strength. So this is sort of a meme pick because I want to pick him, and I believe in him as a player, but I don't know if we've done the right thing here. Moving on, we have McKercher, Sanders, Huswaite. I forgot who we have. But anyway, I think McKercher, Roberts, Wilson. I think we're forgetting somebody. Might be Lazaro. Let's go Lazaro. If I can spell that. Oh boy. I know we have Lazaro. So basically, I think a lot of these players will make significant cash. I don't understand McKercher, with that north back line and what's going on, and he's at best 3rd in line for rebounding, which is generally like a sub 80 role, maybe 85, but he's a kid still, so I'm gonna bench him round 1 for Roberts because he plays GWS, and that could be terrible. That could go very terribly for me. So we'll see how that goes. I definitely had someone else at M8, but I can't remember. Oh, Jai Clark. There we go. Jai Clark. Sanders, I'm very confident in. I think he'll win Rising Star. I think he'll be favourite soon. Just a gun, high work rate, and yeah, looks really good. We'll get mid-time. Well, he didn't get much, but yeah, he'll get DPP, so it'll be interesting to see if they start giving him more CBAs. Could he average like 90 plus and be keeping the forward line? I don't think it's out the realms, but he's one where we'll just monitor how he goes, and he's a lock for everyone. I think rookie rankings 1 and 2 are Roberts and Sanders. I think are like 1A, 1B, and I think then the rest are a tier below. I think McKercher's a tier below them personally, but that might be tied to Fisher's durability. I could be wrong though. And Husway, I don't understand this either. A lot of this, like I'm saying, I don't understand a lot, but this is why Sam Mitchell in the Discord, we call it terrorism, where the coach makes too many changes to the squad. Whereas, like Ken Hinkley is good, Kingsley's pretty consistent. Whereas you got your Bevos and your Longmires and Sam Mitchell as well. We call them terrorists. So they just change roles too much. Now he had 50% CBAs in the practice game. Is he going to get that in the real stuff? Like I think Moore should come back in, who probably wasn't getting CBAs anyway. But they got McKenzie there. Connor McDonald, like is he going to get CBAs at some point? I don't know. What was that last year? Cam McKenzie, 1 week 60% CBAs, next week no CBAs, next week CBAs, like more CBAs, then no CBAs. It's a nightmare. So I don't really know what's going to happen with Huswaite. I think surely he's best 22. Like he's forced his way in. They really like him. They rate him. Sicily spoke so highly about him in the captain's run or whatever it is. So yeah. It's a very guns and rookies team, and that's what I like. That's what I feel more comfortable with. And then ruck line. I suppose bench. Yeah. McKerch, I guess, it speaks for itself. And Darcy Wilson looked good, and Jai Clark, I think you got to pick. But yeah, Chris Scott, rookie terrorist, has been, for a long time. Does back him in sometimes, but I think, yeah, there can be some risks and whatnot. There's a few that have been a bit dicey, so. But yeah, anyway, ruck line. Just gonna play it I guess it's safe. Grundy's safe, but Gorn went 180 2 weeks ago, so I don't know what happened against Grundy, and no doubt, probably the worst game of his career, and you would think that he comes out and he's not happy about it, and will breathe fire all over English, hopefully. So he's in, and we remember these new rules. Basically, Fox Footy were calling it the Max Gorn rule, being able to fend off a bit. Is it fend off? I don't know. Use your the straight arm to push your opponent or ruck opponent away. Should help him a lot. So that's that. And then Grundy, self-explanatory. I was considering English in this spot, given Grundy has 2 buys in 12 weeks, but I think the amount of bank Grundy will make, and he averaged like 130 plus solo last year. Not sure he'll do that again because it was only 3 games, but he could do 115 plus, I think. So no, he looks good. Next one, Sam Naismith. Bit of PTSD starting Sam Naismith over Gorn when, I don't know, I think it was the COVID year, but yeah, I don't know how this, again, Nank and Lynch should be back in this week, so maybe they get rid of 2 tolls, and that is Naismith and Samson Ryan, I'm guessing. I think I'm going to pick him anyway, just so I don't have to blow a trade later in the year to get rid of Naismith, Livingston, for example, and maybe I downgrade someone else and keep Livingston, but I want cash gen everywhere. We got 40 trades. I want more options to players to trade out or players to cash in. So I don't really want to give up cash gen. That spot could be Naismith could make, I don't know, over the first 10 weeks, he might be in and out a little bit depending on Nank's injury, but yeah, could make some decent money. But yeah, I don't want to miss that. And yeah, during the season, I don't really want a sideways rookie or keep a donut. I want points. And if he plays round 4, he'll cover Grundy for us, but who knows. Now the forward line, major changes in the forward line from round 0, and I think most things didn't really change too much. Mids a little bit. I think added Wines out for Crouch and whatnot. Added Zach Williams and House, but mostly the same. Forwards are, who's more expensive? So we got Sam Flanders, and where is the king of Sydney? Did I miss him? Isaac Heaney. How can I not start Isaac in midfield role? So now we're putting pressure on our buys here. We got Gorn, Grundy, Flanders, Heaney, and Dacos. That's 5 players. It's just hard to balance the team because we have money makers in defense, but Pink and Phillips and Caulfield and stuff, they're fine, but we have good ones in the midfield and forward line too, like Roberts, Sanders, Huswaite should be good, McKercher should be good, Wilson's great, Jack. I don't really want to give up any of these players. If I had to give up 1 or 2, probably Huswaite or McKercher, but I feel that is risky because they're capable of making a lot of money. Huswaite probably would be the one I give up because when Will Day comes back, could he be sub-risk? Could he be out the team? And Day could come back in 3 or 4 rounds. So he'd be the one that I'd get rid of first. And I'd get rid of Sam Berry too, but just a crow's enough. So he's in for now. But yeah, Flanders, Heaney. Flanders got the CBA bump that we were hoping for, up to 56, 58%. Last year it was in the 30s. If he can maintain that, I'll be very happy. There is a case to not start him because the fixture's not great early on and he has that buy almost immediately, but I feel like he's going to make money. And yeah, I think I said this in the round 0 review that I did. I thought this could have been a 140, just got burnt a few times and should have had a shot on goal, but just got unlucky with the ball spilling out. So he's in for me, and he's been in the whole preseason except for after the practice game where I wasn't quite sure. One thing I will say is I'm not super confident in Flanders in tougher matchups, just because it feels like Rao, Took and Anderson are doing a lot of heavy lifting in the inside, whereas Flanders is getting a bit more on the outside just because they take so many points. But maybe that's a good thing because maybe that means there's upside for Flanders to increase his points at the contest. So he's in, and we know what he can do. So he's in. Now, Isaac, I already spoke about in the previous video. He has 2 buys in 12 rounds, which isn't great. But I don't really see an alternative here. I guess it could be Matt Crouch in the midfield, which probably is better, but I see Heaney as a keeper. If you don't, that's fine. If you just want to cash him in round 5, get this early fixture. But for me, with a weak forward line, this is the best I've ever seen Heaney move and look, and the best role for Supercoach he's ever had. I have to start. I can't watch him, especially this West Coast and whoever. I think they have Richmond as well. Like, got to pick him. Just got to pick him. The fixture's too good. He looks too good. They got so many injuries. There's too many points up for grab. So he's in. Next player I have is Zach Fisher. I mean, injury risk, high ceiling. If he gets injured, just trade him out. Whatever. We know that halfback, but yeah, I feel a little bit nervous on him for durability. But it feels like 30%. He's going to be hard to watch if you don't have him. What does he average? Don't know. 95 to 100, I think, but we'll see. Next player is Jermaine Jordan, Harley Reid, and Sexton. So we don't have Fife. We'll make a list of players that we're death riding in a second, but James Jordan, I'm not attached to James Jordan. He's one where I'm looking at plays to cull if I need money, and I see 270k placed into a winger, and I'm like, do I really want this? I don't know. His ownership is so high, and his VFL numbers are absolutely nuts, like 126 or something average. He had a slow start, so I think he can, or in the game that he played in round 0, I think there might be a little bit of upside. And again, the fixture and the injuries, there's just so many points up for grabs, and he can bob up for those marks and get involved in transition, and at stoppages as well, can get those handballs out. So he's in. Over Fife, I think. Fife has the better role, but James Jordan is the bit more, I don't know, he's younger, running on top of the ground, coming to his prime, and has a joke fixture. Fife is very highly owned, high injury risk, I guess, and just the scoring avenues for Fife are contested handballs, and is that it? Don't know. So not seeing many tackles, which is probably the main concern. And he did show a bit of ability to spread, but does he back this up week to week? He's cheap. He's fine to pick, but you can't pick them all. So it's a no for Fife for me. And then on my bench, I have Lazaro, Cadman. Now, there's a player I don't have that if something goes wrong with one of my rookies, I know the exact rookie I'll go to. So I'm starting Cadman with an easy fixture, but this guy, Seth Campbell, if you're looking for 123k in the forward or mid, and you're like not really sure, forget Windsor, forget all these random 123k rookies. I think Carroll could be good, but I think we'll just wait for round 3 for that one, given he has the buy and the late price rise. But Seth Campbell, he looks good, and he can accumulate according to junior numbers. So give a read of his draft profile, and if you didn't see the game, I thought he played really good, and he's got a 70 banked into him. He's going to make a lot of money. So definitely consider him. I thought Lazaro, because I think Lazaro is 4th or 5th year in the system now, and did 110 in the VFL, and you look at North's midfield, Simpkin could be out, not sure, with his concussion. Taron Thomas out. I think Phillips, I don't know what, did I say, no, did I mistakenly say him? I can't remember, but Phillips is not best 22, I think, but we'll see. Maybe he is with Simpkin, and Powell's role Powell stated early in the year that he's going to be mid and forward, so I don't really know if that sticks or they just chuck him in the midfield. But what I'm trying to say is that midfield is pretty shallow, which is weird, because I always thought of North having all these mids and not sure and not knowing what they wanted to do with them. A lot of them in the VFL are playing half forward, but I think like he's a scorer and he has to play, so he has to score an effort and tackles and getting involved in the contest because he's not super polished player, but the DPP is also kind of nice. So that's what I've come up with. I don't know this year. This year's hard. I think I can make improvements to this team. In terms of rookies that I'm fielding, I'm going to count Williams. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to count this. 5, 6, 7. I think there's some iterations I've done fielding 8, but I feel a bit more comfortable with 7. And I feel like I really like my bench rookies, like really happy with them. I've got all the ones I wanted. I'm not sure on Huswaite and not attached to McKercher, but my read on McKercher could be all wrong. He could make me look pretty silly. Wanted Lazaro. The one I'm missing is Seth Campbell that I like, the early price rise. And he's one, yeah, if I can see myself picking Campbell if like I'm a bit unsure on Huswaite. So I kind of want to pick him, but I've got the money to do that. And if I did that, I could probably get Crouch over Wines, but then I'd be Rose, Nuff, Dawson, Berry, Crouch stack. I don't think that's a good idea. So anyway, that's the team. Hopefully you like it. I'm just not sure about this Berry pick in the midfield. I feel like I'm giving up points here for no reason. And Dawson at M2, I think there's just so many mid options. Like you don't want to pick the wrong one that gets so many points. Like you don't want, like Tom Green could come out and go like 130, 140, and Dawson could just be low sub tons. All of a sudden I'm down 80 points. So, or Butters as well. Butters versus West Coast could go just ginormous and then already behind. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. And so antipods down back, not really anyone. We're antipodding pretty hard. I guess Houston a few people like, so don't want him to do super well. Midfield is Tom Green and Butters are a bit worried. I know Green has the bye, but I think the Giants going to smash North and West Coast something real bad, and yeah, I fear for that. What he can score, I guess Steele and Took, and sort of Crouch if we don't start him. I don't think I'll start him, but there's always a chance I sneak him in. So these value picks that, that if they pop, and my expensive mids in Bont and Dawson, if they don't pop, or if Wines doesn't pop, then we're in trouble. I just look at this midfield and I don't think I've got the right mix, but it's whatever. Gordon Grundy. I think Grundy will be in every team, but I can see a few people pivoting to English, Marshall, or Cherry. We need Gorn to do well and punish those that don't pick him, and need him to stay fit, because don't like losing points in the ruck line. But I think we'll be with the masses, so I think we'll be okay. Flanders and Heaney, obviously we have them, so I'm not saying the antipods, but yeah, 480k, 490k keepers just do wonders for the team, for team structure. Like, look at all the rookies I can fit in. Pay a bit more for Gipkus, pay a bit more for McKercher in case he pops, pay for Lazaro with big VFL numbers. So Huswaite as well. So it eases so much pressure. I don't have to take rookie risks, and yeah, so Jackson, we don't have Luke Jackson or Fife. They're the Freo boys that we're antipodding. Slightly concerned with Jackson, but I just see him as like a rental pick, because I don't want him with Darcy in the team. And like the reality is he's not a premium with Darcy in the team. Like, how can he be? Like, what's his role? Like, forward? Unless he gets like a decent split. I mean, they know that Sean Darcy's a far better ruckman than Jackson in terms of tap work, and I don't think the rules suit Jackson either. So regardless, Jackson's a scoring machine with the around the ground stuff. So it's a bit of a worry not owning him solo the first few weeks, but what can you do? Other than that, not death riding too many players. I guess Berry's a pod. We need him to do well. And don't love his first game, Gold Coast over there. That's a tough game. I'd put Berry on Real, to be honest. Berry can maybe negate him a bit, but I don't think there'll be enough CBAs. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Good luck this season. Hopefully we'll knock out a pod this week and maybe one more video. But I think content for me will be a little bit reduced this year. I've got to get my wisdom teeth out shortly. They're cramming my teeth and it's urgent. So that'll be done in the next few weeks, and then also going away for a week interstate for work. So that will happen probably 4 or 5 times throughout the SuperCoach year, and that's going to get in the way of content. So regardless, I'll get out what we can. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys. And yeah, good luck for this year. Actually, no, I don't really wish good luck because I want to win, but I hope you do well. Or enjoy the game, I guess. Don't do too well. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you.